Next thing was question time, right? Did you watch the Jake Paul fight? Did you see it at all?
I was
Okay.
I was doing I was watching it. I did a bit of studying as well when I was watching the fight, but yes, I did watch it.
Okay, cool. So you've done your research.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put these comments to bed, all right? Because I'm not a Jake Paul fan whatsoever. I hate that I have to clarify this to support my opinion, but it's just what it is. It's how hated Jake Paul is. The fight was not rigged. That is to answer it as simple as I can. Jake Paul won at least 6 of 8 of the rounds. The fight wasn't rigged. I don't want to hear no more comments about this anymore. I think the fact that it was even ruled a split decision, in my opinion, was lucky on Tyron. Like when we look at I think it was I can't remember if it was Joe Rogan or who it was that had like this little reaction to it. And they were like, oh, Jake Paul, anonymous decision right there and then. And it wasn't. So again, don't get me like take that with a grain of salt. Can't remember if it was Joe Rogan, could have been someone else, but so many of these people were saying that actually follow boxing that were saying it was an anonymous decision, and it
Yeah.
was ruled as a split decision, which I thought was still crazy. And then you got people out here saying it was rigged. I don't know what part of this fight could have possibly been rigged, but I don't know. What are your thoughts and opinions on it? What do you reckon about the Jake Paul fight?
I don't watch much boxing. I watch quite a bit of UFC on the Sunday,
Yeah,
Sunday for Australia. But yeah, this clearly this wasn't rigged. I think you're pretty. Yeah, you've really got to hate Jake Paul if you think this was a rigged fight. It wasn't rigged. Honestly, I thought it was a pretty even fight, in my opinion. I thought Tyron Woodley had, some really good hits. I think it was in round 4 when
yeah,
he had Jake Paul kind of
on the
stumbling
ropes.
and
Yeah,
yeah, that was awesome. We like get them there. But then again, Jake Paul had some awesome combinations and some rounds. Like I thought it was pretty fair. I would have probably given Jake Paul the win, but yeah, it was close. It was closer in my opinion.
yeah,
So it was no way like it was rigged. You could not say it was rigged.
yeah. Was split decision fair, or would you have gone anonymous?
I thought split. Yeah, I thought.
Ooh,
Yeah, no. So I thought it was close. I
yeah,
actually wasn't too sure who was going to win.
yeah.
At some stages, I thought, oh, Woodley might win this. But then, yeah, we saw what happened. Jake Paul won.
Yeah, well, the only time I thought Jake Paul was in danger of losing was when Woodley did hit him, and he bounced back off the ropes. And I remember thinking, all right, this won't be called a knockdown, which it wasn't because it's as good as if you were to push someone in boxing, which obviously does not happen. But if you push someone
Yeah,
against the ropes and they stumble, or whatever, and go back into it, it's not a knockdown. His knees were nowhere close to touching the
yeah,
ground. He wasn't on his backside. None of that happened. He got straight back up and all this stuff. But I think what the interesting thing around that is that was the only time where I was like, all right, Tyron might be in this fight. That was the round that I think he won. The other round that I
yeah,
think he won was round 8, but that was kind of in like the dying minutes when it was like the fight was done. I think up until round 8, Woodley had only won one round, and then he kind of got the last round.
yeah,
But still, there was a complete difference. Like Jake Paul, I think his throwing percentage was like, I mean, his hits landed was like 34. Woodley's was like 30. Jake hit, I think, 20 more punches than what Woodley did. And the thing about Jake's punches was he was convincing. Like, I think what was so smooth about Jake was just the way he boxed. You could tell that, like, he had, Tyron Woodley, he was such an MMA fighter, UFC fighter rather. You could just
yeah,
tell, like, this guy, like, the way he fully put his, fist back to bring in the full momentum and all that. That's such like a UFC thing to do. But with boxing, you could tell how composed Jake was. And it was just, I think, it was a silkier and smoother fight by Jake Paul. And he landed more hits. He did everything better than Woodley, I think, except I think Woodley came closer to knocking out Jake Paul than Jake might have Tyron Woodley. So, yeah, I thought split decision. It's a little bit odd. I probably would have gone anonymous, but I can see where a split decision might have come in. But I think it was pretty clear. There was
yeah.
nothing rigged about the fight. But hey, he wants a rematch. Tyron wants a rematch. If there
Hey,
was a rematch to happen, could he win?
Hey, he's gonna get that tattoo first, mate. I
Oh
love
yeah,
Jake Paul.
I love Jake Paul. Uh,
um,
a rematch would be so weird. Like
yeah.
I don't know. It would just be a weird fight. Apparently, it's gonna be in Tyron Woodley's hometown, which is like St. Louis or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know, dude. Like you're not gonna get as many people as that show up to the Cleveland fight that you are the
Yeah.
the St.
Yeah.
Louis fight. So it's kind of like, as a business standpoint, Jake won't do this fight anyway. But
Yeah.
as a Jake Paul wants to prove everyone, if this guy's got more to prove, then he could do it in the next fight. Because if they have a rematch, I think Jake Paul's winning it.
I think there's no more saying Jake Paul is just fighting all these trash people. Hey, Woodley's he's good. He is, and yes, don't get me wrong, he's a UFC fighter. He's fought 2 UFC fighters now, but he is good. And you look at Jake Paul, he's actually a really good boxer. Not saying, if he versed an actual boxer, he'd probably get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But like he's a good boxer. He's for a YouTuber who's only kind of gone into it. He's a good boxer.
Who wins the rematch?
I would still say Paul, but
yeah. Well, what would like people were saying? Oh, Jake Paul got exposed in this fight. How? Like, if anything, this guy's gonna get better from that fight. This was the first time he ever like fought someone that can land a solid punch.
Yeah.
You're telling me that he won't get better off this fight? How was he exposed from this fight whatsoever?
Yeah.
Jake Paul. Yeah, Jake Paul. He'll get better from this fight. There's rumors that his girlfriend's pregnant. Julia Rose. I was in a group chat with the boys the other day, and they were saying how like hot Julia Rose is now. They were like, I wonder who she's dating. And I should have seen the disappointment. You could just tell the disappointment in their text messages. But yeah, no, I think he'll take some time off. He's gonna get better though. And can we put to bed this KSI fight? It's never gonna happen, I don't think. Like
we all want it to happen, but it's not gonna happen. There's no chance.
I don't know if I want it to happen though.
Oh, really?
Because if you're a mega KSI fan, which I'm not really saying I am either, but if you're a mega KSI fan, you should be scared. Like, he's coming into this fight, and there's a 95% chance Jake Paul is winning this fight. Like, it's a huge chance.
Oh, KSI would get smashed. He would, Jake Paul has been in so many fights. He would demolish KSI. Then again, KSI hasn't been, practicing and stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty obvious that if it was to be KSI versus Jake Paul, it's pretty obvious what the outcome would be.
And I do like KSI. Like, I'm not saying that I'm a big fan, but I do like him. But, like, his fans need to chill out a little bit. Like, they're saying, oh, he's going to go fight this Ace family dude, and he's going to get ready for the Jake Paul fight. This dude's, like, 35, a father of 3 that makes vlogs. Yeah. Dude, he's not a boxer. Jake Paul just fought a dude that was, like, 40, right?
Yeah.
But an UFC legend, rather, like, there's a pretty sizable difference on KSI and Jake Paul now. I don't see it happening. If they were to fight, I heard he wants to run another fight in Cleveland. He said he wants the next fight to be in Cleveland, but if he's rematching Tyron, it won't be in Cleveland. But hey, I don't know, KSI, that'd be a bit weird if KSI was to come to Cleveland, and especially with all his music stuff going on. I think he'll lose. It just...
Yeah. People just forget that, like, Jake Paul is fighting, actual fighters. Yes, he's in the UFC, but he's still a professional fighter. Like, and he's really good. It's let's not forget what Jake Paul has actually, accomplished. Like, it's he's beating actual fighters, UFC or not. They're actual real fighters.
Is it time to put some respect on Jake Paul's name?
Yeah, give the man some respect. I think it's definitely time. It's people keep saying, oh, that fight didn't count. That fight didn't count. And you can't now say, oh, Woodley's fight didn't count. Dude, you've all been saying Woodley's the real deal. He won. Like, let's just cut it out. Give the man some respect. He's a good fighter.
You know what's interesting too in the fight? Woodley nearly knocked Jake down, right? But if we're looking at a rematch here, did you see some of the punches Jake Paul missed? And he missed them by like that much. There was one where he swung like that, right? And then went for the uppercut underneath and was like this close off missing. If that made contact, Woodley's done. Woodley's done. He's probably getting knocked out.
Yeah, if he made contact with some of those punches, you could have definitely seen a knockout on our hands in that fight. But yeah, luckily for Woodley, it didn't hit.
Yeah, but what happens in the rematch though, when this dude has had extra training, extra footage to watch, because there's not much footage for Tyron to watch of some of the missed shots Tyron had. None of them looked like they were as knockout bound as some of the missed shots Jake Paul had. If Jake Paul landed those shots, dude, and that's what I expect for the rematch. If they were to rematch, I don't think Jake Paul's missing as many of those shots anymore.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see what the outcome would be if they fought again. It'd be closer. I still reckon Jake Paul would win, but you'd think that with all those film sessions and stuff, it would be a more interesting fight, you could say.
Yeah. All right, moving on now from Jake Paul. I think we've got, unless something else happens, I don't think we'll be talking about Jake Paul for a little bit. I think he's taking some time off. But,
one sec, before you do move on,
okay.
LeBron James, mate, he even tweeted out to him. Because if we are moving on back to basketball, which I don't know if you are or not.
Yeah, I am,
LeBron James.
he
traded to Logan Paul.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, dude, credit to Jake Paul. If you can get LeBron James to come and tweet you, then that's... And in the home where LeBron James was the king of for so many years.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's pretty insane.